Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Maalaikum assalam.
Thank you so much for being here and
Thank
welcome
you so much
to
for having me here.
another episode of Elastic Connections. I mean, most of us knows this has been awaited for a long time now. For me being in the UK, you being in the Ireland, we also did some episodes remotely online as well because we were there. But all in all, this is a dream come true basically. कि हम ये journey document कर सकें. The help that I have had in my journey as a designer from you, that has been immense. So I just want everyone to know okay, what has been going on, how has your journey been, and how you help people in design. So people who are interested in getting the help that I have gotten from you, they can connect with you and do what they have to do. So you can start by telling us how your journey has been up till now. Where do you come from? How do you got here? Anything. You can start from anywhere you want.
बस तो शुरू करते हैं. Let's start.
Why not?
See, I'm a full-on Karachi girl.
Okay.
And as a Karachi born-bred person, I am also a very ambitious person at heart, with like most of us Karachiites are. My journey is far more structured than a lot of other people who've started to come into user experience design or design in general.
Mm-hmm.
So my journey was that I already knew what I wanted to do. I knew that I want to go to an art college, but I want to do a design degree because this was the computer science ki bhi degrees utni evolved bhi nahi thi. We weren't even there yet. And so I wanted to go to an art school and do a design degree because I always said, even as a young person, that as a child, I would say कि अगर मैं painting बनाऊंगी तो वो तो gallery में लगी होगी, लेकिन अगर मैं design बनाऊंगी तो it's going to impact more people.
Yeah.
More people will be affected and more people will be impacted. So from that moment, because I was always a collaborative sort of person, I like to talk to people, I like to meet with them, I'm curious about their stories, I'm happy to tell my stories, I am happy to work in vulnerability, कि मैं अपनी वीकनेस दिखाने में मुझे इतनी परेशानी नहीं होती और ना मैं किसी और की वीकनेस देख के मुझे ऐसे लगता है that that's something bad. You know, it's just a space that I operate in that I really enjoy.
Yep.
And I think that is where growth happens, honestly. तो ये तो मेरे पास अब अल्फाज आ गए हैं after a number of years, but at that time I didn't have this kind of a vocabulary or expression, but I always knew I wanted to be in design. So I went to NCA. I did my 4-year degree. And because design was maximum branding, ब्रांडिंग हो गई, ब्रांडिंग की थोड़ी बहुत स्ट्रैटेजी हो गई और उसकी एप्लीकेशन ज़्यादातर जो थी वो एडवर्टाइजिंग और मार्केटिंग में थी एज आर्ट डायरेक्टर्स. सो आई स्टार्टेड माई करियर इन एडवर्टाइजिंग and I did some 11 or 12 years in advertising in Pakistan. And I worked on a lot of clients from Unilever to a range of banks and insurance companies, and I had a very good career there. But I took the opportunity to move with my husband to Dubai. And then that's where I established my own practice, and I would do projects as well, where I would work for my previous employer, sometimes on project basis and other projects in Dubai. From there, however, I started thinking in terms of, अब मैं अपना काम कर रही हूँ, अब मैं hardcore design कर सकती हूँ. I don't have to do art direction anymore, and I don't have to do creative direction anymore. I can just focus on the branding side. So then I started working on the branding side, branding strategy, branding की design, marketing strategy, marketing ideas and implementations. As COVID was approaching, I moved to Dublin, and that's when I said, okay, I want to now move full on into user experience design.
Okay.
And because I'm such a structured person, I'm not a structured person, I'm a very unstructured person. So I like to go into structured spaces जो मुझे स्पेस इस तरह दें कि मैं लाइन में चलूँ, वरना अगर सिर्फ मेरे पे बात छोड़ दी जाएगी तो I'll be all over the place. So I said, okay, what should I do? I want to bridge the gap between my language as a communication designer, which was my degree, to the new language that we're now using in the industry. So I said, let me get a certification for user experience design. So I did that. I wouldn't say I learned new things, but I certainly learned new ways of talking to things. जैसे आप हर एक discipline की एक ज़बान होती है. So I got into that, and I made a fantastic network of friends, and that's when I started working again. I worked for a startup in Canada, and now I'm working with Bytecorp on a startup.
Yes.
So this journey looks very structured. कि ये तो कोई बहुत ही लकी इंसान है जिसको day one से पता था कि उसको क्या करना है. But I would, like I said, that I'm everywhere, and I want to say over here is that when we're everywhere, society does not like us. Like if you go for a computer science degree but decide to do design, you'll have people tell you, loser, what have you done for the last 4 years? Yeah, you can't decide or you can't do this. But the thing is, we as people are not one-trick ponies. We can do so many things. So even before I graduated, I had jobs to write, different types of writings. I had jobs where I could be on television. I had shows. I was a newscaster. This is all while I was still doing advertising, because I wouldn't allow another person outside of myself to tell me what I can and cannot do. I can't even have Siri tell me what I can and cannot do, for that matter. My entire problem with iPhone is I can't change things in it as much as, it decides what I need to do. So, वो एक अलग मसला है, but nobody should be allowed to tell you what you can and cannot do. Because as human beings, we can do anything and everything, and we can pivot anytime, because a lot of times these skills are transferable. Let's go back to what new people are doing. When I say I'm talking to a computer science person turned designer.
Yeah.
And you asked me at an early time that, do you consider me a designer?
I remember that conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't remember what I said to you. What did I say to you? Do you remember? If you can't remember, it must be something mean.
If it was something particularly mean, then I would have definitely remembered. But yeah, it was you. For me particularly, I remember that you were supportive because you saw that at least the knowledge that I was gaining was coming from the right direction. But you said very clearly that if just anybody without that theoretical knowledge in design and knowledge about the history of design, and they just, a computer scientist just one day stands up and say, okay, from today I'm going to design. You say, I don't consider that person a designer. Yeah, and which is true, which is what I believe in now as well. Yeah.
Because what happens is that at least in so our economy, because it's a smaller economy, and our industry is not as developed, which means that the space in which designers operate is also very limited. The jobs are smaller, and the jobs and the money you get decides how big you are and what place you have on the table.
Yeah.
And if you have a place at the table at
all. Exactly.
So because हमारा काम छोटे-छोटे हैं, तो जब तक हम डिज़ाइनर तक काम पहुंचता है, तो वो कंट्रीब्यूट स्ट्रैटेजी में नहीं कर रहा होता, वो रंग बदल रहा होता है. इसको बड़ा कर दो, इसको छोटा कर दो. तो क्लियरली जब आप उस तरह ऑपरेट करते हैं, तो फिर जो दूसरा होता है वो आपको उसी तरह ट्रीट भी करता है. So the more money you make, the more value you have, because clearly that's why you're being paid so much, right? And because designer salary and designer jobs are so small over here, generally people from the business side do not consider us anything valuable. तो क्या होता है कि इन्वेस्ट क्यों करे कोई आदमी अपने इतने ज़्यादा साल एक डिग्री लेने में, जिसने लैडर के सबसे नीचे वाले लेवल पे काम करना.
Exactly.
So then they would pick up softwares and they would pick up, thank God we have YouTube videos as well, but वो लोग वीडियोस देख लिए, कर लिया, सॉफ्टवेयर सीख लिया, टेम्पलेट्स ले लिए, and now you're working.
Yeah.
But you do not know, when you say imposter, you really don't know what you're working with, and you don't know the behind, and you do not know the forward. You don't know where you're going. So आप उस moment में काम तो कर रहे, but where is the passion? Passion comes when you start, not passion comes. Passion is shown when you invest your time and energy in learning it more.
Exactly.
ठीक है, ये नहीं हो सकता कि बस मैंने ये पानी आया और पानी मैंने पी लिया. This needs to be refilled every time. And for that refilling to happen, you need to study.
Yeah.
You need to read. You need to know the history of things. You need to know कि past में क्या हुआ और उससे impact क्या हुआ और हमने उससे क्या सीखा. You will know. अब देखो, फैशन भी तो रिपीट ही होता है ना हर 20 साल के बाद. things repeat themselves and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So a lot of times we know the context, and by learning histories of different cultures, by learning cultures, if you do not know how people operate, you cannot design for them.
You cannot do that.
Design is for people, even for animals for that matter.
Yeah.
But if you're designing for people and if you do not know what culture they operate in, what language they use, what is right for them, what is wrong for them, how are you going to design for them? And the misunderstanding that if I know how to do a user interface by copying a template does not make you a designer.
Exactly.
So, because I'm a little snooty like that, so I would say if I've put in so many years and I have put in consistent number of years, I have never मतलब मैंने किसी से एक दफ़ा कहा डॉक्टर नहीं बनना, मुस्तकिल पढ़ना पड़ेगा. फिर मैं जो भी बनी, मैं मुस्तकिल पढ़ती ही रही. So मैं मुस्तकिल पढ़ रही हूँ. And if I find somebody, देखो 4 साल की डिग्री है ना, आप 4 साल की डिग्री क्योंकि पेस आउट होती है. अगर आपने कंप्यूटर साइंस किया हुआ है और आप ये वाकई करना चाहते हो, आप 4 साल का काम 3 साल में भी कर सकते हो. बिकॉज इट्स नॉट पेस्ड आउट और क्रेडिट्स. आप ये काम ऑन द जॉब सीखें, पढ़ें, आप गिव इट योर लव, गिव इट योर पैशन, गिव इट योर लाइक खाद डालो, पानी डालो, सूरज लगा, एंड देन लेट इट ग्रो. एंड व्हाई वुड यू नॉट बी अ डिजाइनर? इट्स अ स्किल plus history. There's no rocket science to it. Everybody can learn how to be a designer, provided you have that ability to observe, to empathize. Empathize is like an overused word. Everybody uses it. Yeah. Humility is also a very overused word. This humble and empathy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so empathize is really where you're able to just sit quietly and observe and listen, and just get the insights from different people, just from their behavior. Sometimes people don't talk. Like we don't have to go to people and say, tell me what is your problem. You just see them in their environment, and there you find, okay, that's a friction point, that's a friction point, that's a friction point. And then you design for it. क्योंकि आप मरीज से भी अगर पूछेंगे ना कि आपको क्या प्रॉब्लम है, तो वो जो बताएगा, तो the doctor still has to do his own checkups to see.
Exactly.
So the knowing how to ask the right questions, ये कहाँ से आता है? ये आता है हिस्ट्री से, किताबें पढ़ने से, कल्चरल कॉन्टेक्स्ट से, जो आपको कोई भी सॉफ्टवेयर नहीं सिखा सकता. और डिज़ाइनर बनने के लिए आपके पास ये सारी चीज़ें होनी चाहिए.
Yeah. Yes, this is exactly what I believe in as well. Like in most of the design, and this is me being, kind of careful of what I say, but I...
Say.
Yeah, but I 100% believe that most of the design is happening outside the tool, and it's happening in the context of it, and happening in understanding the problem, and understanding the people you are designing the solution for. And once you get it, then utilizing the tool to deliver something is just like any other thing.
Yeah.
You can do it. You can do that. So in your journey, there has been different domains that you have worked in, right? So आपने when you were working in the space of an artist, तो उसमें आपने क्या experience किया, and then when you came into the space of a designer, तो वहाँ आपने क्या experience किया? Talking about like the goal being here is to distinguish the two fields as well.
Yeah. When I work as an artist, I work only for myself.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about ये कहाँ लगेगी, इसको कौन खरीदेगा. वैसे आप, if you're a professional artist, that's what you will think about. Or if you're a commission artist, you will think about it. आपको होटल एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट देगा और बोलेगा इस जगह पे इस साइज की इतनी पेंटिंग लगनी है, बाकी इंटीरियर डिजाइन से. Technically, you're operating like a designer even there. You're creating surface designs. But as an artist, it's a matter of what I feel, and there is a conversation piece that I want to create that leaves a lot to interpretation. आप आके उसको देखेंगे, आप कुछ और सोचेंगे, कोई और आके देखेगा, उसको कोई और सोचेगा.
Subjectivity.
और subjectivity में we revel in that, because that's the whole idea. Everybody should be able to identify it, and not just one target audience.
Yeah.
कि ये बस एक बंदा इस persona से आए और नई चीज़ को देखकर ये सोचे. So that's not what art is. Art is just, it's beautiful. It is subjective. It allows people to identify with it, feel something, take home something, have a thought, or anything. But that's where it starts and that's where it ends. No, it goes further than that. You can also buy art and wait for it to get more expensive and then sell it again.
Yeah,
You can do that as well.
that's the
You do-
thing. That
you do-
definitely.
Yeah, so there are so many layers to it, I would say. लेकिन जो डिज़ाइन में मैं आई हूँ तो डिज़ाइन मुझे हमेशा इसलिए ज़्यादा बेहतर लगता था बिकॉज it was not a one way leave it for interpretation. I think that's where my control freakness also comes in because I want some level of control on the outcomes.
Yeah.
So that is where I think operating as an artist was too open-ended for me. Like I mentioned earlier as well, I have a very open-ended sort of thought process. Like अगर मैं बोलूँ कि मेरा दिमाग कैसा है तो they're going to be like little butterflies coming with ideas. एक आके बैठती है उड़ के चली जाती है, दूसरे आके बैठती है उड़ती चली जाती है. तो for somebody like me, it did not work out. I needed parameters. I needed spaces that limit my, thoughts, that limit my actions. And I have a goal and say, okay, मुझे point A से point B जाना है. अगर मेरे पास goal नहीं होगा और point A, point B नहीं होगा तो I'll just, मेरा point B पता नहीं कहाँ होगा, and just be in the process, having fun in the middle, daydreaming and having a great time. So that for me is, for me that was very important, and that is why I switched to a designer thing, because it's fun. It's fun to sit and observe people. And every time I move country, I think country is the best part about it has been, जैसे हम सब इंग्लिश बोलते हैं, लेकिन जो इंग्लिश पाकिस्तान में बोलते हैं और उसका जो मतलब होता है वो नहीं होता जो अरबे बोलते हैं.
Exactly.
और वही इंग्लिश जो गोरे बोलते हैं तो गोरे भी उनकी भी लेयर्स होती हैं.
तो उनमें भी सेगमेंट्स हैं.
Exactly.
यूके के अलग,
Exactly.
अमेरिका के अलग, and then
और यूके में भी आपकी जो इंग्लिश बोलते हैं और जो स्कॉटिश इंग्लिश बोलते हैं,
it's very different.
और जो क्योंकि उनकी अपनी लैंग्वेजेस हैं तो टेक्निकली इट्स ए सेकंड लैंग्वेज. सिवाय गोरे के, विच सिवाय इंग्लिश के, बाकी सबकी इंग्लिश जो है वो सेकंड लैंग्वेज है.
Yeah.
तो हम अपनी ओरिजिनल कल्चर, कॉन्टेक्स्ट और उस पूरे अपनी ट्रांसलेट करके हम बात करते हैं तो उसका कॉन्टेक्स्ट बदल जाता है. एंड आई फाइंड इट सो फैसिनेटिंग. Like I find differences fascinating. I don't find them threatening. I find that there is something to discover. There's some level, like it's like, oh, ye kya nayi cheez hai. That is what I like about talking to people, meeting new people, or just observing behavior. It's just a lot of fun.
It is.
It's a lot of fun.
It is.
And so I think art for me is more of an internal. It's more like it's very siloed. It doesn't work for me. I do like to do it from time to time because I'm a very visual person. Like मेरे सामने अगर चीज़ें लिखी हुई नहीं होंगी ना हाथ से, अगर मैं नहीं लिखूंगी तो मुझे याद नहीं रहेगा. या अगर मेरे पास एक पूरा इतनी बड़ी किताब का पेपर होगा, पूरे टेक्स्ट होगा और उसको मैं थोड़ी देर तक पढ़ूंगी तो मेरी तस्वीर की तरह it prints in my mind. If I have to read from it, I haven't memorized it. I've just taken a picture and I can just read from that page. That's really nasty. I mean, I should be able to learn it, but I didn't learn it. I just took a picture. So, yeah, so that's the sort of person I am. Design for me helps me connect with people. Design for me does what I would like to observe people and find stories and insights and what is it that they do which is interesting. I can wake up to it every single day and be excited about it because it's a way of life for me. It's not
definitely
a job for me.
Definitely. I once read an article which everybody who is an artist but have had some sort of design training will agree to but will never say out loud.
Yeah.
So the article said that के अगर आर्टिस्ट एक डिज़ाइन लेड अप्रोच फॉलो करने लगे तो उनकी प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी बढ़ने का बहुत ज़्यादा चांस.
That's absolutely right.
And I was like, everybody knows this, but they're not going to agree. It's going to, it's going to piss off a lot of people. कि नहीं वो तो subjectivity होती है, and it's my own expression, and it's, it's what you derive or interpret from it is your thing. नहीं, these are not true. But if you talk about profitability, nobody's gonna know.
It's gonna know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna know.
Yeah, you follow a design approach, तो वो हुई थी बात. And about studying behavior and observing people, see, getting that, what do you call it, empirical knowledge, जो आपको observe करने से आती है. मेरी जर्नी में this is where I got fascinated by psychology as well, because I think they are not very further apart. The design and psychology are not very further apart. At times, while making decisions in design, they go a lot more together than any other field that I have ever yet to experience. So what do you think about that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because you see, we're using design to affect behavior change. Sometimes we're using design to, see a certain behavior and then creating products for
Yeah.
those behaviors. And sometimes we create products first. So there's no one way suiting all. So we created a product and then we affect behavior change. And my time in advertising, that has been, I think, one of the best learning experiences also, like from a designing point of view, because advertising is based on customer instinct, human instinct. And if you do not have that instinct, how are you going to create a narrative that tells a person, oh my God, if you're going to get this product, your life is going to be better tomorrow, right? I mean, there'll be a lot of people who will, we buy a lot of stuff we don't need, We don't need it, but we make people feel good about those things. And there's technically no need for it, technically no problem that those products are solving. So when we're working on the product side, we're only thinking really, really starkly, and we say, oh, because we need to solve a problem.
Yeah.
But sometimes we can create a product and still have people buy it, and there is no problem for it. We can create problems.
Yeah.
So we can create problems. So I guess when we say that psychology is used used for all of these actions that we have. If you want to sell something, you tell the person what they want to hear. Ask a salesman, जब वो बेचने जाता है तो वो अगले को वो बताता है जो उसके लिए मैटर करता है, और जब दूसरे को वही प्रोडक्ट सेल करने जाएगा तो उसको वो बताएगा जो उसके लिए मैटर करता है. तो आपका तरीका होता है बात करने का. और मुझे ये चीज़ जो है अपनी एडवर्टाइजिंग से पता चली. आई रिमेंबर एट वन पॉइंट वी वर डूइंग हाउस विजिट्स, सो एज पार्ट ऑफ आवर इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ रिसर्च कंपनी के साथ हम क्रिएटिव्स हैं या वो हैं क्लाइंट सर्विसेज हैं. अब हम जा रहे हैं, अलग अलग 4-5 घरों को आइडेंटिफाई किया हुआ है अलग अलग SECs में कि ये इनका इनकम ब्रैकेट ये है, ये घर जाएंगे, ये इनकम ब्रैकेट. So we go to those houses, and if you were to ask them कि आप ये डिटर्जेंट यूज़ करते हैं, उनको पता है कि हम वहीं से हैं, तो कहते हैं हाँ हम ये यूज़ करते हैं और हमें वो बहुत अच्छा लगता है. हाँ हम तो यही करते हैं. All of those answers because they know where we're coming from. So then we say, excuse me, can I use the washroom? They say sure. You say okay. Then you go to the washroom and you see all the other products that are there in the washroom. Because if that is the detergent की price अगर इतनी है, तो comparatively जो बाकी products वो use कर रहे हैं वो कौन सी हैं? Are they brand specific? Are they price specific? What sizes they are? We're looking at all of those things. Nobody else knows that we are, but we are looking at all of those things. We're going into that house. We're looking at all the decor. We're looking at the way they're talking. We're looking at everything. So the data that we're collecting is not just it's heavy duty qualitative data, where we are picking up insights as to how people are speaking, how people are talking, what are the conjunction usage. कि अगर वो एक चीज़ यूज़ करते हैं तो उसके बराबर में क्या चीज़ यूज़ करते हैं. So we understand the psychographics, their ability to spend, their priorities, all of those things. It is the most fascinating piece of work I think one does in order to do what we do, in order to sell. Now, at one point, अगर एक तरीके से देखा जाए तो it sounds very intrusive and judgmental. कि आप किसी के घर में जाके उनकी ये सारी चीज़ें देख रहे हैं. Who do you think you are? Yeah. But you're not, right? You're not going to one person's house. That's where I will defend that.
Yeah.
We're not going to one person's house and creating a judgment out of it. We're basically collecting data over a number of houses, over a certain SEC, which is an income bracket, economic जो उसका section होता है. और उसके बाद हम उसकी पूरा data extrapolate करते हैं. और फिर उसमें जो पूरी डिटेल्स आती हैं उसमें आप बोलते हो ये जो 5, 6, 10 इनसाइट्स आई हैं इनमें से सबसे ज़्यादा कॉमन कौन सी थी, सेकंड कॉमन कौन सी थी, थर्ड. इट्स जस्ट लाइक इन्फिनिटी मैपिंग दैट वी पुल इन डिज़ाइन. दैट्स एग्जैक्टली हाउ यू डू इट, राइट. और फिर आप वो निकालते हैं, आप टॉप 3, टॉप 4 या टॉप व्हाटएवर में आप काम करते हैं. एंड यू सी ओके दिस इज़ व्हाट द प्रोडक्ट ऑफर्स, दिस इज़ व्हाट द इनसाइट इज़, how do we marry the two?
Yeah, you're just grouping similar categories together. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I say, that if you are a designer, you are a designer all across the board. You will not be able to say कि मैं UX UI डिज़ाइनर हूँ. आप सिर्फ UX UI डिज़ाइनर नहीं हो सकते. पहले आप डिज़ाइनर होते हैं, उसके बाद अगर आप डिज़ाइनर हैं तो आप कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, honestly.
Yeah.
Because you just need design sensibilities, skills, जो on its own उसकी discipline की है. Now you can apply it wherever you want.
The fundamentals are applied everywhere, literally everywhere. When you stay in the category of design, the fundamentals are
The fundamentals
Yeah.
are the same,
Yeah.
and the rest is that it's like what you said about the craft.
yeah, I did
You said about
something about
theory and craft.
yeah, they have the theory but not the craft. If you have a lot of theoretical knowledge, you can still navigate your way
Yeah.
through theory. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you just have the craft, you will never have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
So if you want to have seat at the table, and if you want to be somebody who is influential, you need to know where you come from, what group of people you belong to as an industry, and where you want to go.
Yeah, and I feel sometimes like it's an a posteriori argument, but I feel ke kabhi there is a lot of design work, like you just mentioned advertising. Though in a layman's mind, it would be an artsy job, but it is very design led.
Very design.
It is design, because you know why you are taking each decision, and maybe sometimes I feel that people call it art because
They don't know it.
because of the disease that is a lack of vocabulary that we suffer from culturally,
That's right.
and that's why we call everything art, that we feel कि इसमें थोड़ा looks and feel वाला मामला है, तो we will call it art other than design because we don't exactly know what design means or stands for.
Yeah. ना हमें उसका पूरा पता है, ना हमें उसको पूरा पता है. So we just say, like artists के बारे में भी हम जैसे कहते हैं, like you just said that correct me if I'm wrong, that artists, if they learn about design, they will do better. Right?
Intrinsically.
Intrinsically. But I'll tell you something. When you go to an art school and you spend your 4 years over there, they are taught exactly to do that.
Oh yeah.
Because then you're not in your zone creating art. You're going to college to learn how to create art, how to position yourself, how to sell it, how to manage your value, all of that.
Yeah.
Or should I give you an example? I don't know if that's going to be relevant, but
No, why not?
see, like for example, an artist, you will know, like even in my college or other colleges, आप देख के बता सकते हैं आर्टिस्ट है. क्यों बता सकते हैं आप देख के आर्टिस्ट है? उसकी ब्रांडिंग का हिस्सा है. एक सूट में टाई लगा के बंदा बोलेगा मैं बहुत अच्छा आर्टिस्ट हूँ, तो आपको यकीन. That's right? So it is part of their branding.
Yeah.
To look a certain way.
Look a certain way.
And in that way also, like they know very well that if they're going to sell their art directly, their value will never grow. But if they were to sell an art through a gallery, the value will grow. So when you go to schools, I think that is coming back to somebody who's done a degree in another discipline and wants to come to design. I think they miss out on these soft skills. So designers have hard skills and designers have soft skills.
Yeah.
So when you get to do your degree in design, you are also taught, being in that zone, there are a lot of things that you learn by not specifically being spelled out. They're not spelled out exactly, but you're in an environment, and in that environment, you learn that these are my soft skills. And that's what people miss out on when they do their 4-year degree in some other discipline. And then they come to a discipline which is somebody like, अगर किसी ने 4 साल की डिग्री नहीं की है डिज़ाइन में और किसी और ने की है 4 साल की, तो ये जल्दी आगे जाएगा, जाहिर सी बात है, क्योंकि उसको वो सॉफ्ट स्किल्स और हार्ड स्किल्स दोनों है. और उसके पास पूरा नेटवर्क है. नेटवर्क भी मैटर करता है, राइट? उसकी नेटवर्क है, उसके मेंटोर्स हैं, सब लोग हैं. लेकिन इसने जो 4 साल की, ये टेक्निकली ज़ीरो से शुरू कर. There are going to be transferable skills because common sense तो common sense होती है ना. He's a smart individual to do what he's doing. हर कोई कंप्यूटर साइंस भी नहीं कर सकता.
Yeah.
But इसको ज़रा ज़्यादा मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी because he's not part of that community. He has just started.
Exactly. And I think in a design school, those skills aren't being particularly treated as soft skills. So in a computer science environment, उधर भी यही चल रहा होता है कि नहीं, वो बोलते तो हैं कि you should focus on your soft skills more, क्योंकि इसी से आप grow करेंगे and you have to climb the corporate ladder and everything. But आप उनकी जब बात की premise ही set होती है तो आपने एक चीज़ को secondary कर दिया है. Now you can't just go ahead in your argument and put it on top of it, put it on top of your argument. Soft skills, hard skills में आपने पहले categorize किया. You use the word you use. And then you're saying कि नहीं ये वाली ज़्यादा important है, इसके बारे में मैं कुछ बताऊंगा नहीं, but you should keep that in mind.
इसके बारे में कुछ बताओगे?
Well, you should keep that in mind and then learn it yourself. और तो ये हो सकता है जैसे I feel मेरे साथ हुआ कि I've had experiences जहाँ I was in situations where designers might be more in a design school, where you learn to communicate, where you learn to understand people better, where you learn to observe people. And then when you get the theoretical knowledge, you can connect the dots and say, okay, yeah, okay, this is something that I can do better with.
Yeah.
One thing that I would love to talk to you about, ma'am, is, and this is an actual problem. So the ecosystem that we are in here, I'm talking about the Pakistani ecosystem. So here, the state of design is not particularly great.
Immature.
Yeah.
You can call it an immature.
Definitely, because in the sense that it's not just about the stakeholders, but it's also about the designers not knowing not knowing about the discipline that they are in, and the seat that they have, and the seat that they should have, and the voice that they should have in an organization. अभी ये बात मेरी अभी एक और जगह मीटिंग थी, वहाँ भी मैंने बोली कि organizations और startups who are design led, उधर इत्तेफाक ऐसा है कि one of the co-founder is a designer, और अगर नहीं है तो वो नहीं है, and it's only fair. So if the CEO is coming from a sales background, they are more focused like that. If they're coming from a technical background, they are more focused like that. And it's only fair. I understand that.
I wouldn't say fair. I'd say natural.
Yeah, exactly.
Natural.
That's a better word. That's definitely a better word. It's natural because they are doing what they have been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
And abhi idhar state, I won't say everywhere, but majority is, even in big companies or small, and more certainly in services companies which are not design led, is that no matter which position you are at as a designer, give a task, complete the task. Give a task, complete the task. Or if you are going, you get to present the task. Okay, good job. now you get to present what you did. Okay, now you get to present your art, for that matter. But and then that's it. You don't get to communicate. You don't get to communicate about the problems that are existing internally, and you don't understand that it can be your job as a designer to solve those internal issues, because you do possess the ability to find a designer solution for those problems. So all in all, I think you understand the nature of my question, and it's about how does a person living in this ecosystem navigates this to get more out of their discipline as they should. Right. It was a very, I think, long question, but I think you understand the gist.
Yeah, there are layers within the question.
Yeah, a lot of layers.
So it's not a yes or no answer.
Certainly not a yes or no answer at all.
That's not a yes or no answer, because the thing is that the moment we say the word designer here, when we're talking across each other, and we are both designers now. अब क्या है कि come on, repeat the question.
Oh, I can't repeat the question. मैं खुद नहीं याद बोला था, but I can still repeat.
जवाब कैसे दे जवाब?
Yeah, I can still. So
because when you're going to repeat the question the second time around, I think it will be more focused for you.
Yeah, definitely. I'll make it more focused for you now. So the goal of the question was to determine suggestions that a designer can use to do better in their discipline. Either understand that the organization they are in is not realizing the potential of a designer, or the value or the ROI of a designer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
should stop here. Yeah.
I can. Let's start with people who are already qualified designers in today's time.
Yeah. We have set this assumption. Okay.
Today's time. And they're qualified as a designer.
No.
When you go out in the market to look for a designer for yourself, for your company, who are you able to find? Who are the people who apply for those jobs? Are there anyone who are fully qualified designers from design schools?
No.
Have you wondered why?
And we have also spoken about this, yeah, because I feel it's a problem, but I can't hold, that prejudice because I am not one of them.
Okay. Sweet. No, listen.
Yeah.
The thing is that when you're fully qualified in today's time, okay? Today's time means that you don't have to necessarily align yourself with, say, a senior to be able to, succeed. The whole market is open to you. You don't have to work in the country that you were living in. You can work anywhere. And the immaturity of the market is such that the qualified designers don't want to work for this immaturity. I mean, I worked for this market. And I worked for this market in advertising because there were no design jobs. So where do you go? If you need a job, what do you do? So you go where you're going to be hired.
Yeah.
Right now, the whole world can hire you. You don't have to be here. And that's why any of those qualified designers are not applying for local jobs because they don't need to. And those are the people who, by the way, if anybody thinks that they get a 4-year degree and they're going to be like really cool the first time around, no, you're not. You have to do real work and deal with real people and get bad feedback and interpret that feedback to understand, okay, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And people don't write emails because they can't write concisely. They will have a half an hour call, but आप प्याज के छिलके की तरह उतारोगे निकलेगा कुछ भी नहीं. So, it's very hard in real life to work rather than the structured way in school that we're working on a project and, thesis, mini thesis, etc. So, those who have gotten a degree and some level of communication skills according to their field, they're not here. The people who are here are the people who are wanting to move to design, but at some moment in their time, either they did not have enough exposure to decide for themselves this is what they want to do.
Yeah.
Or they had too much pressure from home to do something that they did not want to do and they were too young to fight back that pressure, And now that they're older, they feel more confident about making the choices that they are making. But let's just remember, they still do not have the communication skills. So imagine they're coming to be designers. Now they've started their design journey. They do not have those communication skills or the mentoring circle of designers. And they have to then believe or hope that they're going to have a seat at the table. They won't. They won't.
Yeah.
Even the ones who have graduated full on, even they won't have a seat at the table in the beginning because that's how things work. That's how corporate hierarchies work.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I mean, a lot of times we say, I hear a lot of, I read and I hear that it's not fair, it's not fair. There's no such thing as fair. You have to earn things. And all designers are not equal. All doctors are not equal. All engineers are not equal. They all have their different calibers and their own specialities. And sometimes one is good at one thing within the discipline, another one is good at another thing within the discipline. So they're not equal created. So it's unfair to say a blanket statement that says that designers don't get a seat at the table.
Yeah.
I'm a designer. I went to an art school. I always have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
I did not have a seat at the table in the first place. I was impatient because I was a child. I can call myself a child now because that was a long time ago. So I was a child and I was an entitled child where I felt that because I've gotten a degree, I should have a seat at the table. But I had no context about the world. I had no context about this person who's saying what they're saying. Is it even what they're saying? Because in my understanding, I'm thinking what they're saying means this.
But does it?
But that doesn't mean that. Maybe they're just being nice to me and once I've moved out of the room and they'll say, okay, can you please do this or that? Because work is never hard. Creating a design is not hard. Finding a problem is not hard. The problem is selling that solution to people. The problem is convincing people that this is something you believe in and that this can go well. Yeah. The problem is how do you have 4 or 5 different types of people and disciplines work together in cohesion and get to the other end of the bridge.
Yeah.
Because, you start from point A, one says, no, we should take that route. The other one says we should take that route. The other one says, because a designer never works alone. The whole point of being a designer is to work with so many different disciplines.
Exactly.
And if you're a sort of person who does not like to do that and want your own 1.5 inch masjid, then you're probably not in the right space. You're not in the right space, because the whole point of being a designer is that you are a people's person. You don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to be a talker.
Yeah.
But you just need to be an observer and have to be very self-aware also, because your biases can also come with what you're hearing and what.
Yeah.
So you have to separate yourself, and all of this does not happen the first time in your first, second, third project, because it takes you a number of. Well, I won't say everybody takes a number of years. Some people can take few less time. Some people take more time, but everybody can become a designer. You need to know history and you need to know craft. Without the two of them go hand in hand. If you're going to ignore one thing over the other, I'm sorry, then you can't. You just have to take both of them in tandem and take it from there. And the seat at the table comes when you have knowledge.
Yeah.
Don't think it's going to be given to you.
Never.
Nothing is given to us.
Never.
It's like when at the end of the year, a person demands a bonus because I did so and so. But you were paid a salary for that, for doing so and so. Bonus you get for the extra stuff that you do. Now, if you haven't done anything extra, you don't get a bonus for it. I sound very cutthroat when I say that, but life is about giving or rewarding merit. You don't just get things sitting over there. You work hard, you do something which is over and above, you get a bonus. Otherwise, you just paid a salary for shifting blocks.
Exactly. I mean, and it's okay. In the pursuit of determining the truth, you can risk offending people.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
there is always this risk. You can't please everyone and still speak the truth.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. and I have learned this from you. And one more thing that I am still learning, I think you told me this a while back, that as a designer, to detach yourself from a piece of your own work emotionally and to remove that bias is a very difficult thing to do. It's very difficult because I did this. I put a lot of work into it.
It's mine.
But you can throw it in the dustbin in front of me, telling me to my face that it's shit, and I have to be okay with it, and I have to tell you, and I need to have the realization that okay, this is what it's about. This is what the craft is about. This is how.
Because it's not about you.
Yeah, it's not about me exactly. It's not about me. And so I still feel that even after I have designed some products now, but still I am still trying to learn it.
So you say we were talking about infancy, right?
Yeah.
So there's market immaturity, but there's also designer infancy. And in infancy, you'd give like a 2-year-old person, a little kid who learns how to speak. Everything he picks up, he goes, mine.
Mine, yeah.
Mine. Because in the new world that we're living and finding ourselves, we're finding our own existence. We're finding our impact in the world. We're not understanding what is mine because we don't know boundaries yet, because we're new. So we don't know boundaries. So everything becomes mine. So my piece of work is mine while it is not. Somebody else is paying you to do something for them. And that then will become their ownership. So because we are in our infancy here, we are thinking mine, mine, mine.
Yeah.
But as we grow and we mature as designers, and it's possible because you just have to grow up. You can't be a 2-year-old forever. A person will never be in diapers forever. We all grow up. And when we do that, it's easier because then we know who we are. We are more secure in ourselves. We know what we can do. We know what we can't do. Both the things are very important. And with that said, we also know that this is not me. If somebody calls my work shit, they're not calling me shit.
Exactly.
Sometimes there are people who do. Because, like I said, work is not hard.
Yeah.
People are hard. So there might be somebody who may be giving you really bad feedback. And bad feedback is feedback which becomes personal.
Yeah, it's
like a
not
personal attack.
it's not actionable. It's just,
not actionable.
It's just a thing that was said.
There is no objective to it.
Yeah.
There is no improvement required in it. It's just putting you down.
Yeah.
In that case, to say, oh, I don't have to feel anything. No, that's not real. Because if we stop feeling things for ourselves, we will also stop feeling things for others.
Yeah.
So that's a balance we need to keep. Okay, you can't shut down feelings for us. We can't do that. So what we do is we feel the initial pain. Like I said in the beginning, it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And do not be ashamed of feeling the pain when somebody is mean to you.
Yeah.
Because they're being mean to you. If somebody pinches you, you can't say, oh no, मुझे कुछ नहीं होता. No, मुझे होता है. मैं एक इंसान का बच्चा हूँ. But being able to take a long breath and getting up and going on with it, that is the key. Don't fall down and stay down. Fall down, it's okay, fall down, and then get up again. And that's how it is for, I think, everyone, but more so for designers, because every piece of work that they create, it needs to be externally validated.
Yeah, and I think that's the way, this is a very great thing that you said, because I think that's the way you deal with pain. You can't run away from it. Keep running away from it, it will become a lifelong trauma.
Yeah, embrace it.
Yeah, to deal with pain, you have to sit with it. You have to sit through it. You have to feel it enough, so then it's not not being felt as difficult as it was initially. And I think that's just how you deal with pain. And I think the thing that you said about, disciplined designers who are trained that way, not staying in the local industry. So I think that changes the problem at hand. And that just makes the problem that in the tech industry, they're technical people and then pivoting to design, and then they're not being trained that way.
Yeah.
And then they maybe, not all of them, some of them might think that they should do it because it's easy, and then they get stuck in a loop forever, because you won't have that kind of growth without that kind of training. And if you don't have that kind of training, you will never have that kind of a seat. And so what can we do other than what you already said? Okay, to read, learn about it, get the theory right. Is it the way that they should go about it, या फिर कोई और भी तरीका है कि understand? And as I speak about it, I feel कि आपकी वाली बात के पैशन होना बहुत ज़रूरी है, because when you are passionate about it, you also true to it. आप फिर खुद से या अपनी फील्ड से झूठ नहीं बोलते उस बारे में ना, कि नहीं मैं कर सकता हूँ, यानी ये जो बात हो रही है इसका मुझे पता नहीं, आपको नहीं पता. And it's okay, and it's okay. Yeah, it's okay, because you have to learn then, and then you have to be better and be more competent. और इसमें मैं आपको बताऊं कि insecurities तो आती हैं सामने. See, when I left, I was a front-end developer, and I know when you are a computer science graduate and you are not generating code, तो आपके around stigma क्या होता है? Because you are not good at it. You became a QA because you are shit at programming. You became a BA because you are good at talking but still shit at programming, bro. but ये सारी चीज़ें होती हैं, और ये सारी चीज़ें मेरे साथ भी हुई throughout university हुई. And then when I became a front-end developer, I developed more than I think 25 applications. A lot of them were actual products that are still out there. But फिर भी मैंने इसलिए पिवट करने का सोच लिया था, because what I did not want, and this is a personal mission as well, nobody has to be nobody has to go along with it, is that I can't afford being mediocre. I don't want to be mediocre. I don't want to be just an average programmer or just another dude in the tech industry. I want to have that impact. And मैं जब बहुत बेहतर भी था फ्रंट एंड डेवलपमेंट में, तब भी मैं एक डिज़ाइनर के रहमो करम पे ही था.
Yeah. I agree with you.
So this is where when I started studying design as it should be studied.
I find this very amusing. So the conversation started with designers being at the lower end or the lowest end.
Yeah.
And then you just spoke about a front-end developer being lower than a designer.
Yeah. He might be paid more, but he might not be feeling what I felt. But I said, okay, payment and everything. I didn't care about payment because I had that privilege. was in my own company, but I still, when I was
We're talking about payment according to a discipline.
yeah,
A job.
yeah, exactly. When I was still outsourced with other companies, that was like a job for me,
It was a job.
and that's like a job for me. And in that job, I didn't feel the impact that I wanted to feel always. मुझे okay, this product is now working. मुझे तारीफें मिल रही हैं, लेकिन ये मेरी है नहीं. एक और बंदे ने बहुत ज़्यादा दिमाग लगाया इसके ऊपर, and he went through a certain approach, he went through certain challenges, he talked to a lot of people and came up with this. And if he didn't, मैं तो बैठा होता.
हाँ,
And
exactly.
मैं बस trial and error पे चीज़ें कर रहा होता है, which is not the way you should go about
Yeah.
building any product at all. तो उससे मुझे ये सेंस हुआ था कि yes, वो
Yeah.
वाला फीलिंग, वो वाला था मेरा, वो वाला मोमेंट था कि असल काम तो ये कर रहे हैं हम तो बस. But obviously,
नहीं बोला.
yeah.
There'll be other people who will be very happy doing what you
Yeah, definitely. Because ये चीज़ भी मुझे आपने सिखाई है, क्योंकि ये चीज़ डिजाइनर्स में आ जाती है. Then they start feeling okay, we are everything in this product and we are doing the work. बाकी सब तो ऐसी, but this is not the case. And again, a designer can just make the design and sit there and see it marinate in its own mediocrity, and nothing would be made out of it
Yeah.
if there's not a team.
And now that you've moved
Yeah.
into design, have you seen how many times we also go ahead with such mediocre work
Yeah.
and we sign off on it?
Yeah.
So out of the 10 projects that we do, there's probably one project that is worth talking about,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm being generous when I say that one of them is worth talking about, because all of those projects don't have, you know, the delight factor or the kind of delight factor that you think is worth sharing or showing off,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely. No doubt about it.
I would just say, do it, because is it something you can wake up for every day? If we can find anything that we like to do, and if we can wake up every day looking forward to it, and even in your pastimes, you're looking and thinking at the same things, then you're in the right space.
Yeah.
If you can do that, like I'm very, very, very lucky like that. I would be in a store and I would automatically start observing clothes, the you know, people, where they pick things up from in the beginning and where they put it, where the prices are if they're missing,
True.
how they cancel the prices, how have they designed the aisles, why is the bread at the very end when it's a regular thing, because they insist you go all the way to the back and then get the bread. They want you to go through all the aisles rather than just get the bread and get out of the store.
Well, we understand in an instant why is it the way it is. It's
Because
not a coincidence.
It is not a coincidence why at the end where you have to pay, they're cheap things, impulse buy items over there.
Yeah.
So we know it. We're part of it. We do this.
Part of the problem.
Yeah, we're part of the problem. Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We are, certainly. But we can be more responsible. I mean, that is a different topic for
That's
being
definitely a different.
ethics in design.
Yeah.
And design then is design strategy is another thing. Like what we were talking about, why put the bread aisle at the very end or eggs aisle at the very end is strategy. And that strategy can be a marketing strategist can do the same thing, and a design strategist can do the same thing, honestly. I would just say wake up for it. If that is something that you do even when you're not paid for it, you're in the right
Oh yes.
space.
Oh yes.
And I'm in the right space for that matter. And I'm glad that, you know, we don't like Divergence. The movie Divergent. Have you seen the movie Divergent?
I think I've seen. Yeah.
The Divergent, Insurgent, and the
I've seen
reason.
Divergent. Yeah,
So basically, every community, the community has 4 different structures. One is fighters, farmers, so on and so forth. And then there's one woman who's born in them, who she's good at all 4 of them.
All full career.
And because she's good at all 4 of them, she's a threat to the system. Because she is going to mess up that structure of divide and control. So people who can do that is a threat to the system. So if, for example, you're ridiculed for leaving your computer science behind, you're a threat to the system. in some ways. I know it sounds like a little too conspiracy theory,
Yeah.
but I mean, take it with a pinch of salt, okay?
Yeah.
But it's almost like a threat to the system, and then you get to be ridiculed for making the choice that you had the bravery to do or the courage to do. Either you may be a threat to the system, or there may be a lot of other people who want to do the same thing but don't have the courage for it,
Yeah.
and they resent you for it. So what I would say to that is that if you believe in something, if you want to wake up for it, and if something you would even do even if you're not paid for it, those are the strongest indicators that this is something that you will be very happy doing every day of your life for a very, very long time. Like, being a designer is part of my identity. If you're going to ask me, who are you? I'll say, I'm Saman, I'm a designer.
Yeah.
It would not come to, I would not say I'm Saman and I'm this and that and this, blah, blah. The first thing, it's such an enmeshed part of my identity because I live like that. I see like that. I read like that. I observe like that. And I find opportunity in everything. I mean, I'm not opportunistic. I'm just saying that there is a possibility for growth in every little thing. And there's just excitement everywhere. If you find a space to operate like that, you're the luckiest person in the world.
Definitely.
And you need to exercise a certain, you need to have courage. And if you have that courage to switch and pivot after your 4-year degree of, say, computer science, to a discipline where people ridicule you for it. And you know that this is the discipline where you'll have to work extra hard to get a seat at the table.
Yeah.
Please be very aware of what you're signing up for. It's not as glamorous as one thinks.
Definitely.
You get dirty. You get other people dirty. You make mistakes. You make mistakes that if you get up from, will be ridiculed. If you don't get up from, you will be ridiculed.
It's like that.
I'm not going to give you examples, but in my so many years, I've had those experiences as well. But above बैठ तो नहीं सकते ना, you have to get up.
Yeah.
You have to get up. Otherwise, you might as well die. But if you're alive and you're breathing, you have to get up and move forward. Be ready that anything is going to be hard. If you want to switch to design thinking that it's going to be the easier way out, it will not be the easier way out because it's not about the work, it's the people. And the people are going to test you. People will test you too. Tell me about your firm when you first switched to... So there were a set of people who ridiculed you for your courage because you had the courage to leave computer science. What about the people who were from the other side? What experience have you had with them?
When you say from the other side, you mean who exactly?
Anyone from the designer community.
From the designer community, yes. So I would say I was lucky to find a mentor way earlier, where I was provided the right guidance. But there were people from the design community as well who were working the right way, but still they had that, there was a gatekeeping kind of situation, because it was like, okay, you don't know enough, to operate in this manner, or and also, and this I don't think this is particularly related, but in my journey I have faced this a lot, where I knew what I was saying, where I was sure about what I was saying, where I was like, because I got the theory right, so I knew this is the way to move forward with it, but because I wasn't old enough.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, maybe you may know what you're saying, but we are older than you. So we will do what we want to do.
And you shall do as we ask.
And I shall do what they ask me to do. And obviously at times when you are in that setting, you are like, okay, can go forward that way. But then up till now as a designer, and I'm still learning, but I've learned a lot to how to deal with that situation. And there are always more ways than one to deal with a situation, no matter what the person is saying. If a person says you are not grown enough to say this, I will get a person who's grown enough to say this and still get my way with that.
Yeah.
And then we'll get it done the right way still.
So if I'll ask you,
Okay,
if
yeah.
you did not have a grown-up person to second you on that, what would you do then?
So what I have done, because I resorted to getting an older person way later, right? So what I do, I tried having a one-on-one conversation where I was there with the data and tried to convince the people that okay, this is the way that we should move forward with it, and this is the thing that we have achieved, which I always feel is the go-to approach, that you approach with data and you get feedback on it and see how the person. But that didn't work as well. And what else can I do?
You want to ask what I would do?
Yeah, definitely. I always ask what you do.
I would create a case study out of it.
Oh yeah, for my own benefit. Yeah.
You create a case study out of it. What you do is that you say, this is what happened. This was the data. This is what I suggested. Keeping the data and the circumstances on assumptions and whatever you had. And this was what was suggested. Next steps were taken and they were directly opposing what I had said.
Yeah.
But what I had said was not an opinion. It was not a bias. It was data-based. And then you document everything. Now, imagine there are two outcomes of this. We may think that we are right, but in the bigger scheme of things, because we don't know everything, we may not be right.
Exactly.
So keeping that idea in like the vulnerability space open,
Yeah.
I may be right, but I may not be right. And what is going to happen, I want to know. If this goes my way, what happens? If this does not go my way, what happens? So you may be like, yeah, it went down south. I am vindicated. I was saying the right thing. Or you can say, I was so hell-bent on this and the rest of the team didn't listen to me. And while I thought they were treating me like this because I was a younger person and they were biased against me, I now realize that they were saying something that I did not know about. And because I didn't know about it, these were the reasons A, B, C that contributed to my either bias, or these were the pieces of knowledge that I did not hold.
Yeah.
Because I did not have that experience. So there are two outcomes to this case study. And that case study is a fantastic piece of information that you can share with more people.
Yeah, sure. This is like a short way to tell actual. I mean, if a person is in the job industry and is looking for a job, this is a gold mine of convincing the other person that you are a designer.
You are a designer.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I would like to read something like that. I have worked enough years. I want to read that because we want to be reminded every now and then that you may grow up, but your feet are still on the ground.
Yes.
And when you read these kind of things, it brings us back to the ground, which is very important. Like why I enjoy mentoring relationships, why I enjoy being a mentor. I enjoy being a mentor because the mentee always teaches me something new. They always have a new way of looking at things that I have not looked at before. And I find that so enriching for myself. So when I am a mentor, it's not that I'm giving, I'm getting. Yeah. I'm not giving, I'm getting. So it is a get relationship for both of us.
Yeah.
So it's when it's benefiting the both of us, that is what makes it a great and consistent and long-term relationship for each of us to grow with each other.
With each other.
And have the patience. Every project is not the last project.
Yeah.
Your career is a journey. And it is not an output, it's an outcome. So in design, when we say it's an output or outcome, so see, the example that we just shared about having to convince somebody because we're younger, because we're output-based. We want something to happen or something to be made according to the data that we're talking about. Some output we want. But if we were to focus on the outcome, then our approach will be different. Our approach is going to be, what have I learned? What have I learned today that is going to enrich my projects and my decision making tomorrow? So when you think outcome, there's less frustration.
Yeah.
And when you think output, it's an object. It's an object.
Yeah.
The point is कि मेरी प्यास बुझ जाए. अब वो इस ग्लास के जरिए हो, किसी और चीज़ के जरिए से हो. I can get a drip also. I can get hydration tablets also. I mean, there's a lot of ways that I can be hydrated. I don't have to be fixated on a glass.
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest difference between a junior and a senior.
I was
designer.
about to say that. Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Don't be fixated on small things. And it's not, I've gotten here after a long time. I've spent a lot of time. Those who worked with me in the past, they know me, that with passion comes a bit of stubbornness. And with that stubbornness, because we're young or not as experienced,
Yeah.
you can be a young designer at 45 because you just started. So it's possible. It's because you're in your infancy as a designer, you do not know which battles to pick. Learning which battles to pick is the most important part. And looking for outcomes and not the output
Output. Yeah.
is the way forward for everything. Honestly, for everything. For work relationships, for project prioritization, for deciding, where you want to take your family for a restaurant.
Yeah. It's everything.
You want to have an outcome out of it,
Yeah.
not an output.
Definitely. It's like, this is why I love this field so much, that it has taught me more about life than any other field that I was in, or any other domain that I was a part of. The principle that I've learned here, I have applied everywhere. And again, you just start thinking that way. Everywhere, start thinking that way. You just hold the way you think, the way you approach problem, the way you approach conflict, the way you approach system, everything changes.
Yeah.
When you have gotten the theory down and you're like, okay, this is the way I should live my life now. And I 100% agree with what you said about being passionate about it, because I understand that I can wake up for it. There were times that I did not go to sleep for it as well, because I enjoyed that much. And yeah, and I don't, sometimes I don't have to explain people that it's not about, the output. Because sometimes I'm not on my laptop each day, because I'm on my feet talking to people, because there are problems that need to be solved, and I am taking a design-led approach to solve those people. I just have to talk to enough people, find the right approach, put in the right recommendation, suggestion, or order, so to get that sorted.
Working with your past biases and
Exactly.
other people's biases.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
Most certainly. And you definitely make mistakes and you learn from it. But then you understand how do you want to introduce yourself. Another thing that I learned from you as well, that you need to know how to introduce yourself to people. Because obviously they don't know. And to me, what a designer actually does means something. So when I am asked what I do, I say, I am a designer. What do you do as a designer? I solve problems for a living, and that is it. For me to no, designers don't solve anything. No, the designers actually, that's all they do. Literally all they do.
I had somebody ask me,
Yeah.
do you make clothes? When I said I'm a designer. I said, yes, I make my clothes. Oh, you wear very nice clothes. I said, thank you. I mean, what else am I supposed to say? Convince this person.
Yeah.
Sit down and spend my time trying to convince somebody. It's like, I was like,
And then you realize that this is where that, you need to choose your battles to come into play. Why would you try and convince just anybody about what you do and how it's meaningful and how it's fueling your
my time is
motivation?
very valuable,
Definitely. Definitely.
Every minute is $1. Why would I spend it on like these things?
Quite literally.
Quite literally. But what? This doesn't make me any money. Bye.
And I think this is a good topic of discussion, because now trained designers, though early in their career, get obsessed with the user, and then they're like, okay, this is not user centric, this is not user centric, this is not user centric. Hey, business बंद हो जाएगा आपका.
Who's paying you the salary, my friend?
Exactly. So they don't understand basically the UX value loop that we say. So, okay,
UX
you
value.
need to derive value for the stakeholders to get value for your users as well. तो आप मतलब ठीक है, but it is not an NGO. This is not a non-profit organization. Maybe it's a non-profit organization. Then you go all in maybe, but they're still operating as a business, right? They need funds to operate. And if you're not designing an experience that help them get funds, how are you going to help your users? And this is, I think this is something you should shed more light on. I will stay quiet now.
Well, this is something I think it would be a better discussion if it was done with examples.
Yeah.
But I don't have ready examples. Like I didn't prepare for examples, so my top of mind is not going to come. But
Yeah.
I would certainly say one thing. Having user-centered design comes back to a circle and benefits business, right? If the user is not happy, it will not benefit business. So then what is the problem? We're all saying the right things. Then tell me, if the designer says that this is not user-centric, then technically it is not good for business, right? So why would the business push back on something which is not user-friendly?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. That was a rhetorical question.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
quite-
because at times designers are pushing for things that may being user centric are not needed at that time.
Beautiful. That's the answer I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because you see, it's one of those things I just said about choosing your battles.
Yeah.
So you have to, it's about using that impact effort matrix. How much effort you create, how much effort you input to create something for a user outcome, and is that user outcome impactful?
Yeah.
Now, if the effort is this much and the impact is this much, then please don't spend your money on it. If the effort is this much and the impact is this much, please run and spend your money on it.
Definitely.
If the effort is this much and the impact is this much, then this is certainly better than this, you know?
Yeah.
So know which battles to pick. It's very easy to have this blanket statements are the most dangerous things.
Yeah.
Where you'd say, oh, a lot of designers are pushing for user-centered design, but business pushes it back.
Yeah.
No, but context is everything in design. Everything.
Definitely.
If there's no context, I don't hear your story. The story does not exist, you know? And without context, saying that I am being such a, proponent for user-centered design and my business doesn't realize it and they don't care for it, unless they are not a user-friendly organization at all, which is true. There are a lot of organizations which are very not at all user-led, and which means that if the entire organization doesn't operate like that, no matter what you do is not going to work. So if you feel that this is something that's not going to work for you, then you change your job. You work for someone else who does.
Yeah.
Because you can't change an organization for you. So if you feel that they are not evaluating your user-centered design processes and your outcomes that are based on user preferences and whatever, then you leave.
Yeah.
Go work for an organization that does. You can always try and evangelize, give it a couple of months, maybe a year or two, see if you can create an impact within your organization. If you can't, go.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Otherwise, and when you come into design, don't think the world is ready for your soft, empathetic side. Because most of the world is scared of being empathetic because it makes them feel vulnerable and open to assault. Let's just, it's a strong word, but it just makes them feel very, very vulnerable and open to attacks. So it's easier to be rude and be mean than to be soft and we say, okay, I'm willing to listen, So be ready for what you come for.
Yeah.
Speak for the user, but always build a case.
Always.
So if you think that you're a user-centered designer and you're really talking about the user, but you cannot explain that once I do this for the user, this is how it's going to impact the business in the positive, then please, you can't complain about the other
Then
person.
it's just wishful thinking, right? And
Yeah, you can't complain about it. Your job is half done. If you're going to say, let's do this, why, and you cannot answer the why, then it's no point.
yeah. And I think this is a good rule as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that.
Yeah,
It's a good rule.
it's a good rule. I think it just what you just said also shed some light on designers learning. See if they are learning to choose their own battle, that means they're just learning prioritization as a skill, and that is very important once you're growing growing as a designer, because you will then ask what to prioritize first, and then it's not always an easy decision, but if you follow the right framework for it,
And
it
talk to
gets
everyone.
you talk to everyone, you align everyone on it, and you follow the right framework, as you said, the impact and
Effort.
effort matrix, and it gets easier. The decision gets easier, at least because the data is clear. Then you take the decision on the data, then you are like, okay, it's not based on my feelings or anything, it was based on data, and then it was the correct decision to go forward with, so which is amazing.
So when I would say I'm a qualified designer, then why did I go for a certification? Why? Because I wanted to get the tools that bring people together.
Yeah.
I know how to do the design. I know all of that. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because there's a language that everybody is using to align each other, to brainstorm with each other, to funnel and distill ideas and present them in a manner that is, palatable for people at different disciplines to understand and interact with and absorb and, use. I wanted to learn that. I did not learn design from there. I learned frameworks.
Yeah.
And frameworks just save, it's like what do frameworks do? They don't do anything other than save you time.
Yeah.
And time is money. So you save yourself time in mundane stuff by applying frameworks, but knowing when to do what, working with your own biases and other people's biases, giving another person the benefit of the doubt, being open to criticism,
Yeah.
not taking feedback personally, like it's not personal to you. These are some very important soft principles of design.
Yeah. I think this is the essential trajectory, and the skills you learn along the experience as a designer, and you grow from a junior designer to a mid-level to a senior to a design manager or whatnot. And then I think this is the main difference between each level that you reach as a designer, that you learn these things, and that's why, when you're a junior designer, you're like, okay, you're like, I know how to approach this. First we'll do this. First we'll do the information architecture, then the flows, then the low fidelity, then the wireframing, then the mockups, then everything, and then. But that's not how a senior designer would approach this. He's going to see how the stakeholders are, how the alignment is, how much time do we have, how much cost can we afford here, and they're going to like, okay, we just do this and this.
Yeah. Because you will have to do everything.
Yeah.
These are all if you're going to look at the whole glossary of the tools that we use for user experience design, there may be minimum 150, 160. We don't apply them because we don't need to apply them.
Yeah.
And it's like, how we hear that, ChatGPT is going to replace so and so and so. Like, who's going to write in ChatGPT all those prompts? If you know how to write the prompts and set parameters and give it context, then ChatGPT is going to come up with something, right?
Exactly.
So if you really want to be future-proof, you need to know history. You need to know psychology. You need to know how to observe people in their habitat without judgment.
Yeah.
And when you can do that and ask the right questions and understand the why and understand motivations, then no one can take your job.
Yeah.
No one can take your job. Just treat it as another time-saving tool. I mean, I don't have to spend 8 hours doing this when something can help me do it in like 20 minutes. Why should I spend 8 hours of my time? I don't mind these things. I think they're wonderful. They help me save a lot of time, do things faster. But if you're not going to develop your own processes here,
Yeah.
and you're not developing yourself, then you can blame the world. But if you're developing yourself, you have no time to blame the world because you decide where you're going and you pave your own way.
Yeah.
And as a designer, you are the most equipped at paving your own way.
Definitely.
And it could be for anything. It could be, what do I want to be in the next, or what do I want to achieve in the next 2 months? It could be, I want to go see a personal trainer because my goal is so and so. And then you work backwards and tell the personal trainer, this is the outcome I'm looking for. If you were to go to the personal trainer and say, I want 12 sessions of 1 hour and this, that's an output-led approach. They will be able to do 12 sessions, and technically you've given them the parameters that after checkbox, 12 sessions are done,
Their
45
work's done.
minutes, it's done.
Yeah.
But what's the outcome?
Exactly.
And how is he going to design those workouts for you to achieve, or maybe tell you what to eat and what not to eat? How is he going to do that
Yeah.
if you do not have a goal? So as designers, whether we're doing research or whether we're doing any kind of, even UI design for that,
Even a conversation.
even a conversation,
Exactly.
that it has to be, first you say, I am standing at point A, I want to go to point B. The beach ka path needs to be done by somebody else.
Yeah.
You need to tell them where you're going, right? And they will take you along the way. So briefing part is also a very big part. So it's feedback and brief. Like you delegate and you give clear parameters for the other person to operate in, but with enough space to be creative and make mistakes.
Yeah.
Because you don't make mistakes, you haven't pushed through. You haven't done anything new. So with new designers, please come and hope for a senior to give you space to do something new. Because a lot of times, young people come thinking that they will be told what to do. And if they're not told what to do, they will not do it on their own because of any number of reasons.
Yeah.
It could be cultural reasons, it could be personal reasons, it could be that's how things work, or any number of reasons. And don't come with that thought process. Yeah, you would be a very lucky person if you can come to a workplace that allows you to say, okay, I'm going to give you a brief and this is what I need out of it, say 80%. I'm giving you 20% leeway to come up with something on your own and add your personal touch, thought process, this, that, layer, lens, whatever. And if you can get that, you're very lucky as a new designer. But if you're just being told what to do, it's like you're never growing.
Exactly.
You're never growing. And develop your communication skills, I would say, for new designers. Being able to present your work. For that, you need your language. If you do not have the design, like every discipline has its own language.
Yeah.
If you're not going to have that language, you will lose your credibility in front of, say, somebody else from another discipline. Because you're like, he doesn't talk like one. He doesn't talk like a designer. Then why am I listening to him?
Yeah.
So you need to talk like what you do. And it's not hard, honestly. It's everywhere. You can learn it. You can read a lot. You can learn a lot. You can copy the masters. That's a very important technique that, again, you're taught in art school. Is the first they select all the people who are already very good at drawing. So they don't have to teach them too much. And then they will give them the paintings of masters, 18th century, 16th century, 14th century. And they will give the master's work and then say, okay, now recreate it.
Yeah, okay.
Copy it. Now, I would say, as a young person, I would say, no, I don't want to copy it. I want to create something original. But like I said, the craft is a very important part. when you copy someone, you start to think like them.
Exactly.
So if you want a shortcut from your computer science discipline to, or anyone who else who is listening, from another discipline to design, follow the great masters. See what they do, how they talk, how they approach their problems, and then also go follow the crafters as to how they're creating what they're creating. But don't just look at it. Sit down and make it on your own system, create it all over again.
Yeah.
Because unless you do, you don't learn. You have to do. What's rocket science, honestly? Everybody can do it.
I think it's also very sought after practice in the community as well. Where if you want to be good in at least designing more aesthetically pleasing user interfaces, copy interfaces that you like.
Yeah.
You know, not just copy them like copying, just put up a screenshot, try and design it yourself.
Yeah.
Try and copy the animation, try and copy the transitions, and then you do the least of it, you would at least figure out how it's done. And then it's actually a big achievement. Then now you know how it's done. At least how you know how to make this thing look
Because
beautiful.
somebody else who made it
Yeah.
got there after so many tries.
Exactly.
You're doing that thing for the first time, which means the next thing you're going to do is going to be better than that.
Almost like reading a book.
It's great,
I
right?
just said that. Yeah. बोलने के बाद सोचा, मैंने कहा हाँ सेंस बना रही है, ठीक है. It's a lot of नहीं ठीक है, मैंने फिर सोचा कि हाँ ठीक है, it's a lot of experience concentrated which you copied, now you have this experience. Okay then ठीक है.
It's like reading a book.
Like reading a book.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. It is, I think, ma'am, we have done this for, I think, an hour and a half now.
I think we should
and I don't want to take a lot
be
of
nice
time
to people.
because no, I have been way not nicer to people. We have done a longer podcast, but I think it is for, I always say this, that it is for the audience who want to derive the value that they need from it. I am trying my best. My guests who give the time, I'm always thankful for them because they do their best. And if anybody thinks that this is a waste of their time and because I should do it some other way, it's their problem. Yeah, they always have, yeah. It is what it
that's a designer telling you, I don't need your validation.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. It work like
this is an artist speaking.
Okay, this is artist.
Yeah, this is subjective.
This is persona too.
I drive another persona too. I drive my own value. You do that. Yeah, because it is immensely. And I've told this, so I know how many people that think, why did you start doing a podcast? Because I get to learn a lot.
मेरे बाप की मर्जी है.
ये बेहतर जवाब है. ये ज़्यादा बेहतर जवाब. I start using this more then. Because I say, because when ये इतने लंबे क्यों होते हैं? Because I can explain to you how long form of content works, but when you tell me कि you don't understand ये इतने लंबे क्यों होते हैं, you don't follow long form content, which is evident. Yeah, you just need अगर वही attention span उतना ही है.
कितने हम बुरे बन रहे हैं. We're ridiculing them for not liking us. Asad, we're ridiculing them for not validating us. Is that what we're doing right now?
No, we are not caring if they like it or not. And I actually don't. And I literally actually don't because when I get...
It's like saying हम बुराई नहीं कर रहे हैं, we're just stating facts.
Exactly, man. See, when I get feedback, because I am not like, it's entitlement, but it's not all entitlement, because I have gotten feedback like, okay, this episode has helped me, please do these kind of episodes more, or please do the episode in this discipline. Say, okay, I will try my best to get the value out there. So this is obviously for the help of the professional students who are in the tech space. That's the main goal. And that part was only for the people who are still looking for shortcuts, who still think they should be a shorter form of things, still think they don't want to read a book or two to get better. To them, I say,
मेरे पास आएंगे.
It's a you problem. It's not my problem. Do what you have to do. But ma'am, you taking
That's my favorite statement for 2024.
Which one?
It's a you problem.
Yeah,
I love it because my 12-year-old told me that, Mama, that's a you problem. And I said, I wish I was this smart and sure of myself when I was 12. So I honestly did not find it offensive. I thought it was fantastic.
It is fantastic.
But I said, I'm going to do this as well. मैं भी यही बोलूँगी अब हर किसी को, it's a you problem.
But ma'am, you taking out the time to do this. I mean, I know when I came here from the UK, I know it's a very short period of time. Everyone already has a lot to do, and still you took the time out for this. I am extremely grateful. As I all
Can I do? He employs me. I have to say yes.
No, this is not employment. This is not employment. but still,
Fire कर देगा मुझे अगर मैंने ना बोला तो.
No, but still, I mention you a lot in my post, in my LinkedIn post for that matter. Wherever mentoring is mentioned, wherever having a mentor to help you grow, having a mentor to help you do better in life, I always mention you. And in the New Year's post that I wrote, I did mention you there as well, because that was also a dream come true. See, I don't know how you see it, but for me to get to actually work with your mentor professionally now as teammates, that was a dream come true. That was for me working under a very, disciplined designer and knowing and getting that. See, because कुछ भी हो जाए, I would still need that validation from a senior, जो मेरे line of work में बहुत कम मिलती है.
I agree with you because I have I currently have a mentor.
Yeah, and then when you tell me कि you are doing great, or you took the right decision, or you are a designer for that matter, तो I do get
बैज बनाती हूँ हाथ में देती.
I जल्दी से check those boxes कि हाँ मैं ठीक कर रहा हूँ, and so thank you for always being there for me, and I hope that this podcast is helpful for a lot of designers, and I wish that we get to keep doing what we do as mentor and mentee, teammates.
Something. Like I said, there are a lot of things that I get to learn from you as well. So it is a two-way get relationship. We both get learning from each other. So it's not a one-way relationship. कि मैं कोई एहसान नहीं करी, क्योंकि मुझे भी बहुत कुछ, I get to learn so much from what you come, the background that you come from. So it's good for both of us. Honestly, it's a fantastic working relationship for the both of us. And I would like to, now that we're closing, I would like to say that if you have any design-related questions, or when I say design-related, it could be, you want to show your portfolio, or it could be that you want to understand how to handle certain queries at work, or you may come across certain requirements that you do not know how to prioritize, or just coming into design and trying to understand how to navigate through, you can always, come back and write to you, and you can put in the comments in the comments section, and
definitely,
and let us know, and we could come up with more content for them.
Most certainly, they can reach out to me, they can reach out to you. I would prefer if they reach out to me, so I give them some other person and not share my mentor. And then I will ask ma'am Thomas to
China wala mal.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, impulsive like that. But sure, I'm just joking. Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah, but we can always come up with more content.
Most certainly.
If they have questions or something,
we are
or share something.
Yeah, we are already trying. We will continue the series we are doing. We will keep finding ways to give back in some ways, in more ways than one. So yeah, it's great, man.
Yeah, I've been just very lucky with people who have always been there to help me. जब भी मैं फंसी हूँ तो कोई ना कोई था.
Me too.
Good, very good. So I think it's a very, very easy chain that keeps going forward. It doesn't feel like it's work for me.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that I'm here. Thank you very much for having me here.
It's
a pleasure.
100% my pleasure. Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am.
All right.
It's a wrap. Thank you.